Hi, my name is Amir, and I'm a Sage X3 and Intact solution expert at erpexpert.com.au. In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how you can install Sage X3 in a multi-server setup. You typically need to install Sage X3 on multiple servers for performance, reliability, and scalability reasons. In this first scenario, Sage X3 components are installed on two servers. The first server is for the main application on runtime, besides SQL Server, Syracuse, and MongoDB services. This server will be running Red Hat Enterprise Linux as its operating system. The other server will be using Microsoft Windows Server and will host the printing service as well as the Sage X3 configuration console. I'm going to now log into my Windows server, which is going to host my console and my print service. There are a couple of things I need to do in this server. Make sure you have your license file from Sage ready. Make sure you have downloaded the WinSCP installation directory. This is a free tool that let us connect to our Linux server through a user interface. You also download the Java development kit or a Java runtime environment, such as the Zulu from Azure. I need to install this tool as well. You also need to have downloaded the Sage X3 installation media from Sage and mounted it to your computer through a DVD drive. So your DVD installation looks like this. The first thing I'll do is install the Zulu Java runtime environment. Double-click on the installer file and follow the prompts to install this utility. The next thing to install is the WinSCP tool. Double-click on that, install for all users, accept, and follow the prompts to install this utility as well. I'm going to tick not to launch WinSCP for now and finish. The next thing to do is to install the console. Go to my computer, go inside the Sage X3 installation DVD, go to Sage X3 installs, and install the console. This will add the Sage X3 Management Console icon to your desktop, as you can see here. Next, I'm going to install the ADX admin tool. Go back to the installation directory and go to ADX admin and double-click on the ADX admin tool. I'm going to go with the default port, that is 1895. The next thing to install is the print server. Find the print server directory and double-click on the file to start installing it. I'm going to go with the SQL Server ODBC driver. On your Windows server, open the WinSCP tool. Go to Start menu and click WinSCP. From there, establish an SCP connection to your Linux host. You may save this connection as well and click Login. Accept the license and enter the password for your Linux account. Now you have your Windows machine on the left and the Linux machine on the right. If you haven't already done so, download and copy the .sh script from the description of the video or the course materials onto your Linux machine. In order to copy files to your Linux machine, simply drag them and drop them to the right panel. I'm going to copy the license file in there as well. Now go to Commands menu and open in PuTTY. If you see this message, it means you don't have PuTTY installed. You need to download PuTTY on this Windows server. So open a browser and search for PuTTY. Install the latest version of PuTTY on your Windows. Follow the prompt to finish the installation. Back into WinSCP, go to Commands and click Open in PuTTY. Enter the password and it will now log into your Linux instance. I'm going to type in ls to make sure I'm in the right directory. We need to make the sh file executable, so it will install all the prerequisites and the tools for Sage X3 environment for us, including Microsoft SQL Server. sudo chmod +x and the file name. Enter, confirm the password, and that's it. The next thing is to run the file. // and the file name. Make sure you start with the sudo as well. sudo // filename.sh and enter. This will download and install all the prerequisites for a successful Sage X3 installation. I'm going to accept the Microsoft terms by typing yes, yes again. In the SQL Server installation wizard, choose your SQL Server edition. You can see the edition number from the numbers above. Number 2 is the developer edition, which is suitable for non-production environment, or you can go with Web Standard Enterprise editions or Sage X3, depending on the license. I'm going to go with the developer edition. Accepting the license terms, using English as my language, and entering the SA password. You'll come back to the shell when the installation of SQL Server is completed. You're now ready to start configuring Sage X3 services. You're now going to install the Sage X3 components on the Linux server. Go to the Sage DVD, go to X3 installs, and copy ADXadmin, application, runtime, Syracuse, and MongoDB, and drag them to the Linux server. We'll wait for the upload to finish, and we'll go back to PuTTY to start installing all these components. We'll now go back to PuTTY and do a ls here to find the directories. The first thing to install is the ADXadmin. So I'm going to go cd ADXadmin. Do ls here to find the file name. I'm going to do sudo java-jar ADXadmin and enter. Enter my password. Go with English as my default language. 1 to continue and 1 to accept the license. I'm going to accept the default installation path by pressing enter. Enter to accept and 1 to continue. Enter to accept the default port. You'll now choose the user that will be used to install the services. I'm going to go with ec2-user, which is this user. The user needs to be part of the wheels group, which is the root group of users. Enter the number corresponding to the username. I'm going to go 24 and enter. Now I choose the group. I'm going to go with 45, which is the 45 user group. Enter there. 1 to continue and 1 to continue. I don't need a response file, so I'm going to go with N here. Enter. And this is now installed the ADXadmin component. Next, I'm going to install the application component. I'm going to go cd ... to get to the root directory, ls to find the directory and the subdirectories. I'm going to go to the application, cd app, cd application, ls to find the file name, sudo java-jar x3. Enter. 1 to continue, 1 to continue, or 2 to skip, and 1 to accept. 1 for a new install. Component name, I'm going to go with Sage X3, all in caps. Username is 24, and user group number is 45. 1 to continue. Default path is OK. 1 for yes, and 1 to continue, and 1 to continue, and 1 to continue. This will now install the application component. Press 1 to continue, and we're now installed the application component. Let's start installing the runtime component. Go back to my home directory and cd runtime and do sudo java-jar runtime. Accept the English language. 1 to continue, 1 to accept, 1 for a new install. Component name is Sage X3 as well. It's a main process server, so I'm going to accept the default. I'm going to enter 24 for my username number and 44 for my group. 1 to continue. Default installation path is fine. Enter, accept, and 1 to continue, and 1 to continue. And this will now install the runtime component. Enter no for generating a response file. And the runtime component is now installed. I'm now going to install the MongoDB component. Go back to my home directory and go to MongoDB directory and do sudo java/jar mongo. Enter and start. Accept English as a default language. 1 to continue, 1 to continue, 1 to accept. Enter for new installation. Enter for the default path. Enter to accept the directory creation. 1 to continue. Enter to accept the default selections. Y for enter and 1 to continue. Enter. Enter for the node identifier. Enter for the path. Enter for OK. Enter to accept the default path. Enter for OK. Enter. Enter here as well. For the port, I'm going to go with the default port. So I'm going to go and enter and accept the default port. Enter. And I'm going to enter 24 for my username and 45 for my group. 1 to continue here. If you'd like your server to accept SSL certificates for connections, enter to continue. Otherwise, press 0 to deselect that option. I'm going to go and select 0 to deselect that option because I'm going to secure my MongoDB through my firewall. So I don't see this as a necessary feature. I'm going to disable this. So I'm going to press 0 and enter. 1 to continue. And this will now install MongoDB on my Linux server. I'm going to enter no, as I don't need a response file. And this will conclude the installation of MongoDB. I'm now going to installing the Syracuse component. Go back to my home directory and cd Syracuse. sudo java/jar Syracuse and enter. Accept English. 1 to accept. Go for a new installation, so press enter. Accept the installation path. Accept the license. 1 to continue. Accept that by pressing enter and 1 to continue here. For the node identifier, I'm going to go with the default one, node 0. So I'm going to accept that by pressing enter. Accept the path. Accept the default port by pressing enter as well. Accept the default number of Syracuse processes and accept the number of default web services. Now you need to give the system the installation license file. In your WinSCP tool, find the license.json file. If it is not called license.json, please rename it to license.json because the file needs to be very simple. Right click on the file, go to file name, and choose this option, copy to clipboard include path. Now go back to your PuTTY and simply right click here. This will give you the full path to the JSON file and enter. Choose my username as 24 and choose my group 45. Want to continue. Accept the certificate storage. Accept the simplified. Want to continue. Enter the passphrase for your CA certificate. And want to continue. Enter the details of the license. And want to continue here. Passphrase for the server as well. You need to enter that. Choose a safe and secure password. Something that you won't forget. For the name of the server, I'm going to accept the default. For destination, I'm going to accept the default. In this question, it's going to ask you specify a runtime path for installing the certificates. Press 1 to select that option. And now you need to give it the runtime path. Again, in the WinSCP tool, or where you install the runtime component. So it's typically under Sage X3 runtime. Right click on the runtime directory for the file names and click copy to clipboard including paths. And right click here, it will enter the runtime directory for you. Enter. You don't need to specify web services, so I'm going to go with the default, press enter here, and want to continue. Now this is the MongoDB connection. I'm going to accept. The port number is the same. If you chose to install the Mongo using SSL certificates, now you need to leave this option checked and provide all the certificates so it can connect to your Mongo instance. For me, I didn't do that, so I'm going to go 0 to deselect that. And I'm going to press 1 to continue. This will now start loading Syracuse into Mongo service and start a Syracuse web host services for me on my Linux server. We're now ready to start configuring the solution. Open the Sage X3 Management Console. Click on Solutions. Click on New. Click on New here. In the server name, enter the IP address of the application server, that is the Linux server. Enter the port number for the ADX admin component and the Linux account and the password. Click Next. When the application component is detected on the Linux server, click Next. Similarly for the runtime, click Next. For the database, go with manual configuration. Click Next. Similarly, enter the IP address of the database server, which is the Linux server in this case. Choose the database as SQL Server and the platform as Linux. Choose the right version for your SQL Server and click Find to find the ODBC tools path on the Linux server. In the path of the database files, enter this /sage /sagex3 /database and click Next. And click OK. In the DB login, change the SA to anything else that is the case for your database. In our case, it remains as SA. In the instance sysadmin user password, enter the SA password. And repeat that on the second row. Don't change the SQL instance name unless you're using another type of database server or instance name. I'm going to leave the database name as well as Sage X3. and the rest of the components will be automatically populated. In the application component on Apache, choose Now. In the Runtime section, double-click on the PowerShell executable file path and choose the path from the dropdown. For the connection encryption, double-click on it and choose Yes. For the trust, double-click and choose Yes. For the port number, you can change it to any port number that you like, as long as it's not reserved for any other application. I'm going to leave that as 20100. For the service user, you need to enter the Linux username that belongs to the root or wheel group. And the password of it. Click Save. Click Configure Database and choose your desktop as the destination for the script files to be saved into. Click OK. Click OK and click Close. You will now need to log into the SQL Server using SQL Server Management Studio. Open SQL Server Management Studio and log into the server using your SA password. You'll now need to open the file that Sage saved on your database on your desktop. Go to Desktop and open the database crdb.sql file and open that. Click the execute button or press the F5 key to run this script. If SQL returns this error, means your SQL instance does not have enough permissions to create these directories under your Sage installation database or folder. To simply fix this problem, you may go to Linux and create these directories under there. You may also remove this bracket, starting from the starting bracket, starting from the on, until the end of the closing bracket. Delete that and leave the rest of the text as it is. And click Execute. To confirm that the Sage X3 database is not created, on the left panel, right-click on the database and refresh, and open it, and you should see a Sage X3 database created here. Now go back to the console and click Configure Application. Click Yes to start the configuration. This will now start configuring the main runtime and the folder, and will load the Sage X3 database with the Sage X3 reference folder.